What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. This is the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions, and of course, I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back, and these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about playing different roles in other people's lives. I had this really big breakthrough. I want to tell you guys a story, and it kind of just goes full circle into like what I recently came into. I guess I would say a realization, right? And I think it completes a session of healing that I've been teaching about, as well as going through. You know, it's like we'll always find ourselves in a continuous learning and healing process, right? I think that's what this whole experience on Earth is, anyways, right? Like we live, we have relationships. Sometimes the relationship is really amazing, and sometimes it's hard, right? This relationship in particular is I'm going to talk a little bit about my mother and myself. I'm not going to say anything bad or anything like that. It's actually a really good story. Stick around for it. Do a little something different with this video as well. So, just to give you a quick idea as to what I'm talking about, I feel like a lot of the times in our life, there is this. I would say that in everyone's life, but in my life specifically, I would say that some people play the hero or they play the villain in our story, right? Now, when I was a child, you hear about the stories that I tell when I was a child, right? Now, I didn't go into specifics, but there was definitely abuse, right? And it had a really, really big effect in my life, and I held on to that. And it's still at times holding on to it as well, you know? And so it's normal. I'm not coming from a place of judgment of myself or others. It's where I am and what I've been dealing with, you know? And I came from the perspective of that this person played the villain, you know? She was the antagonist in my story. And so I had this really big breakthrough the other day. You know, I'm not making this video to hurt feelings, and I'm not saying anything bad about my people, but I think this story shines light, you know, and I think that what it can do for other people is really help them, you know. I feel like a lot of our family dynamics, we hold secrets within us, and secrets within the family. You know, I find that the Hispanic culture does this a lot. It's like, don't tell anyone our business. Is not, well, it really isn't anyone else's business. But I'll say this though, if it's coming at the price of someone's life or soul, why not say something, right? Like I found that during the healing process, secrets are like poison in the body, and and if it's poison for the body, it's poison for the mind, and it's poison for the soul as well. And so I would say this, you guys. I've held on to this position that, you know, I would say this position of my mother wasn't there for me, that I felt abandoned. And I was in a lot of cases, you know, and I also feel like, you know, that I wasn't wanted, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what triggered that self-doubt, that self-loathing. And, you know, it's real easy to sit there, though, and blame my mother, right? But that's not what this is all about. I'm trying to teach you guys something, right? And so I feel like the universe or God, whatever you believe in, I do feel like we get this opportunity to learn at all times. It just depends on if you're ready for it, to receive the message. Now, I never thought that I would follow the footsteps of these people, right? Because I felt as though I always said I don't want to be the person that my father was, and I want to be the person that my mother was. But in all actuality, I turned out a lot like them. I followed a lot of the same footsteps. So it's easy to see. What do they say? It's easier to see the splinter in someone else's eyes when I got the plank in my own. And all that's really saying is It's easy to judge someone else, but when you follow the footsteps, you start eating those words, right? And so the story goes like, so I'm sitting, okay, so as of recently, right? Anyone who knows my story knows that I've been dealing, or I've dealt with addiction for a very long time, almost over 12 years, actually it's been close to 15 years. Now, I've been sober for the last 21 months. And so my journey started out being homeless, right? And then after, I would say after rehab and the men's sober living that I went to, my life started to change. I started to do some things a lot different than what I did before. Now, you're forced to do, not forced, I could definitely I could have chosen to leave, but I chose to start healing. Now, some things you hold on to a lot longer than others. One of those things was my origin story, right? And that's my mom and dad, my biological mother and father. It's not to get confused with my adopted parents, right? Who I deem my parents as well. So check it out, you guys. So in the recovery process, I lost everything. Being homeless and coming back to where I am today, it took a lot of darn work. And so now I'm in the opportunity where, like, I'm grateful for things, right? And so I've had the opportunity to start doing things that I remember my mother doing back then. But let's take an intermission on this story, you guys. So right now, I'm doing one of the duties that my mom used to do, right? So we didn't have at some points in our story, we didn't have the money to go to buy a laundry or to buy a washer and dryer. So we in fact had to go to the laundromat, right? And so let's take a little intermission and check out what does it take to do some laundry, right? All right. So, unlike my mom, I have the opportunity to sit in a car, air-conditioned car, right? A lot of the times, I remember now, thinking about it in retrospect, I remember that she had to stay inside the laundromat because she had 4 kids with her. One of them being a baby, right? And we were crazy. I remember running around, bumping into people, constantly getting yelled at by her. And so all those things go, I would say they go, I don't think about those things while I'm going through the trauma wheel of my mind, right? So it's real easy to sit here and judge her. And I don't, it's very difficult. So I know for myself, what finally has been, I would say, the pivotal moment for me is that I'm able to put myself in her shoes now. And I'll tell you exactly how that happened. I just picked up this. I never thought in my life that I would ever do a job like being a housemaid, or I guess a servant of other people, of hospitality of sorts. But I have found myself in, I would say, my early sobriety, having to clean other people's houses, dealing with different customers, as well as, and different personalities is a better way to say it. And, cleaning up other people's toilets and, their floors and all that stuff. I found that you don't know another person's storyline until you start to live it. Now, you remember how I said everything is 2020 in hindsight? Yeah. So I had a little opportunity to have some self-awareness while I was cleaning someone's toilet, and I realized as I was, taking in that bleach smell, taking in the feces smell. I'm messing around. It's too vivid, right? But I got to the place where I had this flashback, and then I thought about my mom, and then what she was doing for us with the things that she was going through, right? I always tell my story in the aspect of she's the antagonist, she's the villain, right? Why wasn't she there for me? Why did she have to abandon me? Why couldn't she stop the abuse? Why didn't she leave him? Not me putting myself in the aspect of she was unable to get a job for a very long time because she had 5 kids, couldn't pay for daycare. She had to give us away eventually because why? Because she couldn't afford it. Also, she had her own battles that she was the demons that she was dealing with, right? So you check it out like this. I'm not saying that to ever pass blame on another person, but it's real easy to do that, and that's what I had done. And this story, you guys, is a lot of people's story, but we're too embarrassed to talk about it. Why? Well, because someone else is going to judge us. Well, you're already judging somebody, so you might as well get it out there. I'll tell you, the best healing that I've done is when I have self-awareness, but even better is when I'm teaching another person, because it gives me the ample opportunity to help another person and understand their perspective and why they did it. But because I know now that my mother, she's a housemaid, right? She's been trying to make her amends slowly but surely. And I now have switched the roles, right? She's no longer playing the antagonist in my story. She's trying to play the hero, but I'm not giving her the opportunity. Wow, what a wonderful way for God to teach us, right? The roles have switched. So I found myself, I would say it was 3 days ago where I had this really profound moment, and I realized to myself, wow, you know what? I had no clue. And I was thinking to myself, why the heck am I cleaning houses? I mean, at first I needed it for money, but then at a certain point I really didn't need it. And so I finally came to the perspective that I'm not going to do it anymore. But I said, you know what? I have one more house to clean. And sometimes we have that inclination, right? That intuitive nudge. And I didn't know that nudge was going to teach me I would say a pivotal moment within my life, a learning lesson that I needed to have. And I wouldn't have had it had I not been in that house at that certain moment in that certain time, right? But I was able to put myself in her shoes. I realized all those beautiful things that I just told you, right? But I also recognized that she did the best with what she had, and she did a stand-up job, right? It's me that had made her the villain, but I now realize that she's the unsung hero, right? She was dealing with domestic violence. And it's crazy. I would put the video that I just watched, which I think it's called Maids. Check it out. It's on one of the, I don't want to say names because I don't want to, for copyright purposes, but it's a something in chill, if you understand what I'm saying. Let's chill and watch. But anyways, I watched this video, and it was about domestic violence, and everything. Just you realize that the lesson that you need to learn, God has his way of teaching us in certain ways like that, right? It was the house. That house, going in that house at that certain time remind me of my mother, reminding me of the lack of what she didn't have, because the family in there was a outstanding dynamic in there, right? Also, the maid service that I've been doing. Then there was the video that I watched called Maids, about domestic violence, and then it all came full circle for me. And so you guys might have something like this in your guys' life, right? It was an outstanding moment because I realized that I know nothing about her story, and I didn't bother to ask about it. So at the end of the day, why do I tell you all this? Why am I putting my business out there? Most people, I hear people with the judging eye on me saying, "You're crazy. Why put your stuff out there?" Because I, at the end of the day, wanted to take away the ideas that we have to keep things so secret. I'm not saying put all your business out there, but there are some things that you need to let go of, because it's certainly poison. And I'm not saying to do it in the way that I'm doing it, right? I'm doing something that most people will not do. But I'm telling you guys that when you release the need to hold on to that darkness, because it's a repetitive process within the mind. I'm constantly thinking about that negativity, and in turn, I'm attracting people, attracting other spouses. You know, I'm in a place now where I want to start dating again, right? Where I want to meet this wonderful woman, this beautiful spiritual woman in my life, right? But if I'm thinking about my mother, it's kind of ironic, right? I think about my mother in the aspects of, wow, she really messed me up. She did this, she did that. And I'm looking for another person. Guess who I'm going to find? I'm going to find that person. And that's why I'm saying, you guys, there's so many different learning lessons within that story. And so I would implore you guys that you don't have to announce your business to the world, but you definitely have to tell it to somebody. Go to a therapist. If you're dealing with alcoholism, go to AA, right? That's what helped me. Or if you need to go to a women's group, a domestic violence women's group, that's out there as well for you. There's many things that you can find. There's many outlets. There's many community helps out there. Don't stay in that process of where the pain is turning and churning all the time, because inevitably, you guys, you're going to find yourself in the story where you're homeless on the streets, addicted to a drug, and can't stop from drinking, but you don't want to do that anymore because you've burned every bridge in the process. Now, it might not be that dramatic, but just living with that poison, that secrecy, and that way of thinking that was not so true, right? If that is the process that you have, you're actually putting disease in your body, because your mind can affect your body as well as your soul, right? They all intermingle together. And so I say at the end of the day is, I would ask yourself a question. What can I learn today? What is put in front of me? What is God or the universe trying to teach me at this moment in time to be able to put myself in someone else's shoe? But are they really playing the villain, or did I project that villain title on them? And have I assumed the title of villainy, right? Or were they actually the protagonists? Or were they just doing the best job that they could do, right? All right, guys, hopefully you guys got something from this. I did a little different this time. I love you guys so much. I'm so souped up in I have such a powerful calling to help other people. I know what it means to suffer. I know that there's a possibility to get over the hump, to be able to heal yourself, but it's going to take a lot of work to get there. But if you just do a little bit each day, that stuff adds up, you guys. I didn't think that I would be able to get 21 months down the road and stay sober, but I was able to stay sober, and I'm able to mend relationships. I'm able to do this work and help another person because I, in fact, water my flower, right? I'm able to watch it grow now, and I'm able to help another person, and I know that's capable for you guys to do so too. Make sure to subscribe, you guys. Give me a thumbs up. I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys.